Hello everyone and welcome back to Chill English Channel, where learning English feels calm and simple.
Hi, Sophia. Hi, everyone listening from all over the world. I am excited about today's topic.
I can see that smile on your face, Jake. You look like someone who is ready to learn something new.
That is exactly right. Today I want to understand when to use since and when to use for.
Perfect. These words are very common in English, but they can be tricky for learners.
Yes, I sometimes mix them up. I hear people say, I have lived here since 5 years, or I have lived here for 2018, and it confuses me.
Don't worry, Jake. Today we will go step by step and explain the difference clearly with lots of examples.
That sounds great. I want to use these words correctly in conversations and writing.
Let's start with since. Since is used to talk about a specific point in time when something started.
A specific point in time. Can you give an example?
Of course, you can say, I have lived in London since 2018. The action started in 2018 and continues until now.
Oh, I see. So since always tells us the exact start time.
Exactly. You can also use days, months, years, or even exact dates. For example, I have studied English since January, or I have worked here since 1st February 2020.
That is clear. So since gives the start time, not the length of time.
Correct. And we often use since with the present perfect tense. For example, I have known Sophia since 2015.
That makes sense. And what about for?
Good question. For is used to talk about a period of time, how long something has happened, not when it started.
Can you give an example?
Yes, you can say, I have lived in London for 5 years. Here we talk about the length of time, not the exact start year.
Ah, so since is the start point and for is the duration.
Exactly. Let's try another one. I have been studying English for 3 hours. This tells us how long you studied.
And if I say I have been studying English since 8 a.m., it tells the start time, right?
Perfect, Jake. You got it immediately.
That is really useful. Sometimes I see people using the wrong word like, I have known him for 2016. That feels strange.
Yes, that is a common mistake. It should be, I have known him since 2016. Using for with a point in time is incorrect.
Got it. So we never use for with a specific year, month, or day.
Correct. And we never use since with a period of time, like hours, days, or years. For example, I have lived here since 5 years. Is wrong.
That helps a lot. Can we practice a few sentences together?
Absolutely. I will say a sentence, and you tell me if we should use since or for.
Perfect. I am ready.
I have been waiting at the bus stop 20 minutes.
That is a duration, so we use for. I have been waiting at the bus stop for 20 minutes.
Excellent. Now, I have known my best friend 2012.
That is a specific start time, so we use since. I have known my best friend since 2012.
Very good. One more. I have studied English Monday.
That is a start day, so since. I have studied English since Monday.
Perfect. You are getting it very quickly.
Thank you, Sophia. It feels much easier when we practice with examples.
Yes, examples make it clear. Let's also talk about signals. Sometimes words like for a long time, for hours, for few weeks tell us to use for.
And words like since yesterday, since 2010, since last week tell us to use since.
Exactly. These are very useful signals in everyday English.
I like that. It's easier to remember for with durations and since with start points.
That's right. And remember, this is always used with the present perfect tense. For example, I have lived here for 10 years, or I have lived here since 2011.
I see. What about negative sentences, like I haven't seen him since last week?
Great question. We use since with negatives too. I haven't seen him since last week. And for duration, I haven't seen him for 2 weeks.
Oh, that is very practical. I can use it in many situations.
Yes, and questions too. You can ask, how long have you lived here? And answer with, I have lived here for 5 years, or I have lived here since 2016.
That is very clear. Duration and start points, positive, negative, or questions, it all works.
Exactly. And one more tip. Sometimes people say all day, all week, or all year. You use for in these cases. For example, I have been studying English all day, or I have worked a lot for the whole week.
That makes sense. And if I want to say the start of a longer period, like since January 1st, that works too.
Perfect, Jake. You are really understanding this now.
Thanks, Sophia. I feel ready to practice more examples and maybe even explain it to my friends.
That's the best way to remember. Using since and for in real sentences helps a lot.
I like this method. Step by step, example by example, it becomes natural.
And that's why we focus on dialogue and practical examples. English becomes easier when you see it in context.
I am ready to continue practicing, look at more examples, and learn common mistakes people make with since and for.
Excellent. We'll look at more examples, comparisons, and exercises so everyone listening can feel confident using since and for in everyday English.
All right, Jake. Now that we understand the basic difference between since and for, let's practice using them in more real-life situations.
Sounds good, Sophia. I want to make sure I don't make mistakes when speaking.
First, let's talk about daily routines. You can say, I have worked at my job 5 years.
That is a duration, so for. I have worked at my job for 5 years.
Excellent. And if you want to mention the exact start year, you say, I have worked at my job 2018.
Ah, so that is since. I have worked at my job since 2018.
Perfect. Now let's look at a few common mistakes people make. Many learners say, I have studied English since 2 years.
That sounds wrong. It should be for 2 years, right?
Exactly. Since is never used with a duration like 2 years, 3 months, or 10 days.
I see. And what about months? For example, I have lived here since 6 months.
That is also incorrect. You should say, I have lived here for 6 months.
Okay, I need to remember. Since equals start point, for equals duration.
Yes, that is a great way to remember. Now let's do some short exercises. I will give you a sentence with a blank, and you tell me if it's since or for.
I'm ready.
First sentence, I have known my neighbor, blank, 2010.
That is a start year, so since. I have known my neighbor since 2010.
Excellent. Next, I have been waiting at the bus stop 30 minutes.
That is a duration. I have been waiting at the bus stop for 30 minutes.
Perfect. Third one, she has studied French last Monday.
That is the start day. She has studied French since last Monday.
Very good. Fourth, we have had this car 3 years.
Duration again. We have had this car for 3 years.
Excellent work, Jake. You're getting very confident.
Thanks, Sophia. I like doing exercises like this. It helps me remember.
Let's move on to some practical examples in conversation. Imagine you're talking to a friend. You can say, I haven't seen you 2 weeks. How are you?
That is duration, so for. I haven't seen you for 2 weeks. How are you?
Correct. And your friend might answer, I have been busy. I have worked on my project Monday.
That is a start point, so since. I have worked on my project since Monday.
Perfect. See how natural it sounds in conversation?
Yes, it feels more like real English, not just grammar rules.
Let's also talk about mixed situations. Sometimes people want to use both. For example, I have lived in this city 2015, 8 years.
That would be, I have lived in this city since 2015 for 8 years.
Exactly. You can use since for the start year and for the duration in the same sentence.
That is really useful. I can say it like this in work, school, or everyday life.
Let's practice with a few more common mistakes. Many learners say, I haven't eaten since 3 hours.
That is wrong. It should be, I haven't eaten for 3 hours.
Yes, exactly. And sometimes people say, I have studied English for 2016.
Oh, that sounds strange. It should be, I have studied English since 2016.
Correct. Remembering the rule makes it much easier. Start point equals since, duration equals for.
I like these examples. They're clear and easy to remember.
Another tip, with expressions like all day, all week, or all month, you always use for. For example, I have been reading for the whole day.
And if I want to say exactly when I started, I use since. I have been reading since 9 a.m.
Perfect. Now let's look at a few more practical situations. Imagine you are talking about your family. You can say, I have known my sister, blank, 20 years.
That is duration, so for. I have known my sister for 20 years.
Yes, and if you mention the start year, I have known my sister, blank, 2003.
Since 2003. Got it.
Let's also practice negative sentences. For example, I haven't seen that movie, blank, last week.
That is a start point. I haven't seen that movie since last week.
Very good. And I haven't spoken to my friend, blank, 3 days.
Duration. I haven't spoken to my friend for 3 days.
Perfect. You are really getting confident with this.
Thanks, Sophia. I like that we're using positive, negative, and question sentences.
Exactly. It helps learners understand all situations. Questions are also very useful. For example, how long have you lived here?
And the answer could be, I have lived here for 5 years, or I have lived here since 2016.
Perfect. That is very natural English.
I feel like I can explain since and for to my friends now.
That is wonderful. And one more practical tip. In storytelling, we often combine since and for. For example, I have played tennis since 2010 for 10 years.
That is very clear. It shows both the start point and the duration.
Exactly. And you can use it for work, studies, hobbies, or daily life.
That is really useful. I will try making my own sentences now.
Yes, and remember, using examples from your own life helps you remember faster and speak more confidently.
I can say, I have studied English since 2019 for 4 years.
Perfect. That is exactly how you use both in one sentence.
I feel ready to practice even more, Sophia.
Great. We will continue with more exercises, real-life situations, and tips so everyone listening can master since and for naturally.
Exactly. And we always use these words with the present perfect tense. For example, I have studied English since 2019, or I have studied English for 4 years.
Right. And I noticed that in conversations, people often ask, how long have you? That seems very natural.
Yes, that is a key question. For instance, how long have you worked here? And the answer could be, I have worked here since 2015, or I have worked here for 6 years.
I like that. It feels like something I would actually hear at work or school.
Exactly. Real-life English is the goal. Another tip, with negative sentences, we use the same rule. For example, I haven't eaten since breakfast, or I haven't eaten for 5 hours.
Oh yes, that makes sense. I sometimes forget about negatives.
And with questions, how long have you not eaten? I haven't eaten for 5 hours. It all follows the same rule.
I see. That makes it much easier to remember.
Now let's review some common mistakes we've seen. Many learners say since 2 years instead of for 2 years, or for 2018 instead of since 2018.
That is something I need to remember. Start equals since, duration equals for.
Perfect. And when telling a story, you can combine both. For example, I have played football since 2012 for 9 years.
That is a really clear way to give both the start time and the length of time.
Exactly. And in casual conversation, you can also use expressions like all day, all week, or all month with for. For example, I have been reading for the whole day.
And if I want to say exactly when I started, I use since. I have been reading since 9 a.m.
Perfect. Now let's think about how we can remember this naturally. One tip is to link since with dates and points in time, and link for with durations and lengths.
That makes it much easier to check my sentences before speaking.
Another tip is to use your own life for practice. Talk about your hobbies, your studies, or your work. For example, I have studied English since 2019, or I have studied English for 4 years.
Yes, that feels more real. I can even write a short diary entry using since and for to practice.
Exactly. And you can also check songs, movies, or videos in English. Try to notice when they use since or for. That will help you see it naturally in context.
That sounds like a fun way to practice.
Exactly. And don't forget, mistakes are normal. You learn by practicing and correcting yourself. Just try to remember the main rule. Since equals start point, for equals duration.
I really like that simple rule. It makes everything much easier to remember and use.
One last tip. When you speak, you don't always need to mention both the start time and duration. Sometimes just since or just for is enough. For example, I have lived here since 2015, or I have lived here for 6 years.
That is much more natural in conversation.
Exactly. The goal is to sound natural while using correct English. And with a little practice every day, you will master since and for.
I feel much more confident now. I will try to use it in my conversations, my writing, and even in messages to friends.
That's the spirit, Jake. And everyone listening, we would love to hear from you too. Please write in the comments a sentence using since or for from your life.
Yes, share your sentences with us. We read all your comments and it helps us create more practical lessons for you.
And don't forget to subscribe to Chill English channel so you never miss a new episode. Your support helps us keep making fun, calm, and useful lessons like this.
Thank you everyone for learning with us today. Keep practicing, make your own sentences, and enjoy using since and for naturally.
Remember, English is easier when you practice with your own life and see examples every day. You can do it.
Yes, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. They are part of learning. Keep using since and for, and soon it'll feel completely natural.
That's right. You are improving every time you try, and we are so happy to be part of your learning journey.
So, let's all keep practicing, speaking, and having fun with English.
Exactly. And one more reminder, comment your sentences, share your experiences, and subscribe so you can continue learning with us.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Keep calm, practice daily, and enjoy English.
See you next time, and remember, small steps every day lead to big progress.